I wanted to spend a little bit of time to just ask a few questions that that I think would be relevant, to the audience here. Just kind of, we can just kind of like fireside chat type of thing. This is something I've thought a lot about, and I've even spoke about some of this from stage before. Before I got into direct sales and network marketing, I had tried sales, which I was awful at, but I had got some, pretty good training at the time, and they taught us to do things like ask leading questions. So we were trained to ask questions that chances are they're going to answer yes to. And as we're asking the questions, we're nodding, and to get them to nod as well, and to get them answering yes. And if we did that enough, then chances are we can get them to answer yes. And that, obviously is a little bit kind of the old school of the way sales has been trained. And then also in direct sales and network marketing, when I first got started, I learned some amazing stuff that I still practice today. But some of the stuff that I learned was, you got to fake it till you make it, or tell the truth in the best way possible, like you were talking about spin earlier, or what's not necessary to say is necessary not to say, And so with that type of training, and for people that have been in sales and or been in network marketing and been doing the business, and they've been doing something in a way that they know works, making the decision to say, okay, I'm shifting. I'm making a commitment that from this point forward, I'm going to be about high trust. I know personally, in some ways, it can be scary, especially if you're a leader and you're leading other people and you know what's gotten you to where you're at. Not that it's been bad, it's been great what's got you where you're at. There's some tweaks that need to be changed, but it's what's been working. So this going out there and say, okay, I'm going to shift and do something different, and I haven't seen other people doing it that way, that can be a little bit scary. So for those that want to make that shift, what would you recommend to them so they can help overcome that fear?
No, I understand the fear, it's natural. I would say a couple of things. One is, just look at the changing nature of what's happening in our world. It's become, through the internet, it's become an open and a transparent world. And in the long run, the only sustainable way to sustain these relationships is to do it on the basis of trust. If you've done it through manipulation, or if somehow you've done it in a way that's deceitful, it will catch up with you at some point. So what we need new models that show, hey, there's another way of doing this. It's not either or, no, there's another alternative that says, look, we can get great results in a way that also builds trust. And so you need to maybe test it and try it and work on it, and also buy into the notion that in the long run, trust is truly an economic driver. It's an accelerator, performance multiplier. And then once you start to do this and experiment with it and get better at it, not as a manipulative technique, but rather as an expression of who you are. Again, the idea of embodying trust, honoring trust, expanding the trust, you'll get results. And when you get the results, that reinforces, hey, this works.
Gives you that.
Then it gives you more confidence. So we just need some models.
Yeah.
And even within WorldVentures, as you see more and more people doing this, then you'll say, hey, there's some models of people that are doing this that are succeeding. And they're succeeding in a way that inspires trust, and you watch the acceleration of that. So we need some models out there. So each of you could become a model to somebody else as well as to yourself. We need some mentors out there that are doing it, and we need some people doing this and then experiencing results. And it's always the results that convert the cynics, and the results that give you confidence, sometimes in the face of fear. So sometimes there's a step into the dark, so to speak. You got to take that first step, but there's strong data, compelling data. I tried to share some of it that shows high trust is a performance multiplier. This is not untested. This is tested. And even in industries where sometimes the norm has been not that path, we also see that it's often not sustainable. And sometimes people that might show success in a method that is, let's go to the extreme. Someone that's really manipulative and deceitful on the extreme. Sometimes they get away and have some success, but usually there's real pain elsewhere in their lives. Or the success is not forever. And at some point, they'll have a comeuppance where it will turn against them, or they'll find that their other parts of their lives are falling apart with their family or their loved ones or their relationships. And so, in the long run, to act honorably and to act with trust, to build that trust, is a far more sustainable path. And what will give people confidence is to see some of the results. See, the whole idea is that if you see it and then do it, you'll get results. See, do, get. And then when you get, that reinforce the see. You know, you see it differently. So the see is the glasses. You see, doing business with trust is a better way of doing business. And then you behave in those ways that we described, these 13 behaviors and the like, and it's equivalent in your world as a rep and as a leader, and then you get results, and the getting then reinforces the seeing, because you say, aha, this works. And we need to get that kind of experience, and we need models of it, and we need mentors of it.
That's beautiful. Well, you're speaking to the right audience, because what I would say is, I and the rest of our team, I mean, there's so much respect we have for this group of people, our leadership and the people that are leading this company and the people that are members of our company. It's just a really, really special group of people. They're very driven, and they're committed to their goals and success and making a difference for themselves. But one thing that we found is that they really, really care about people, and they do really care about doing the right thing. And I think that's something that we all share in common, and it's validating to hear you say that, because I think that's one of the things that's kind of helped us as well, because we kind of are checking ourselves, and we're seeing where we're doing it and it's working, and as we become more transparent with each other, and we become more straight with the field about things, and the trust that it builds and it grows, and that's really, really exciting. It kind of leads me to the other question, and you kind of in a way were answering, I think, the next question I wanted to ask you, and that is, I think it's not only tough for people that have been in this business, or leaders or networkers, but also I'd say in some ways just about anybody, because of what we're all exposed to culturally. You know, the tennis player that you showed,
yeah,
that was so beautiful to see that. But there's so many things that we see
on the other side.
On the other side of lack of integrity, you know, Wall Street, big business, and politicians and celebrities on TV, and the deception and stuff that goes on for the people that are winning a lot of these reality TV show contests and competitions. And it just seems like it's just on and on and on and on and on, that I think some of us, we can't even help it. We might even not be consciously thinking it, but it's helping to reinforce a belief that this is how you become successful, or this is just the way that it is. And I think that most of us, as a way of surviving in this world, that we know it's out there, and so we all have like this BS meter, this filter that's running 24/7, and we don't know who to trust or who to believe, and it's so prevalent that I think even for those of us that say, you know what, I am a good person, I am about doing the right thing, I am committed to being high trust, I think that sometimes we can be like a fish in water where we don't see it. And you know, how would you help support people that are like, help bring my awareness to where, you know, I can continue to escalate my level of trust in the world?
Maybe the best way I know to accelerate moving down that path in that process is, again, I'll come back to the metaphor of the glasses. Put the glasses on. Look through life with the lens of trust. Ask yourself, hey, is my behavior here going to help me create trust, or would this diminish the trust? You know, if this were public, if this got out, and believe me, today, it probably will get out. Everything, it's an internet age.
That's right.
Everything's going to come
Instant.
out. So would this help me build trust or not? So you need to be aware. You need to take steps back and say, I don't want to just fall into the trap of this is how it's done, and assume that. I really do believe in trust. I believe that it's a better way to live, that it's a better way to lead. I believe that most people can be trusted. Not all people, but most people want to be trusted. They're inspired by it. It brings out the best in them. And yes, there are some that will abuse it. And the abusers we hear all about, we see all about, and they make the headlines. But the vast majority of people are good, and they want to be trusted. And so we're trying to be that mentor and model to them. And we need to become aware of it. And the best way I know to increase awareness is, metaphorically speaking, put the glasses on. See life through the lens of trust, and ask yourself the question, is what I'm doing now, the things I'm saying, how I'm saying it, the things I'm doing, how I'm doing it, it's going to help me build trust or will diminish trust? If the answer is build trust, keep doing it. If it's, you're really twisting and manipulating and spinning here, and you're withholding information, and when that's discovered, people aren't going to trust you. They'll lose trust in you. Then you say, maybe that's not the best path. We have to kind of stand back. The great thing about us as people is that we have the ability to have self-awareness. We can stand back from our situation. My father talked about in 7 Habits, be proactive, that there's a stimulus, what happens to us, and then there's our response to what happens. And for many people, there's no space. Stimulus, response. They don't think about it, they just respond. Something happens to them, they just respond. We're trying to say, let's step back. Let's use our gifts of a creative imagination, an independent will, and conscience, and self-awareness to say, hey, there is a space between stimulus and response. And we choose differently. And we choose to operate on the premise of trust because we believe that's part of our values, and we live our values. And you make this real. But you do have to take steps to become aware. And I use the glasses as a metaphor to increase the awareness.
Does
that make sense, folks?
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Stephen.